Lesson 92, areas of rectangles with variable dimensions and products of binomials. So here we'll be looking at the FOIL method, and we'll be also looking at just multiplying variables with whole numbers. So let's take a look at an example. Suppose a rectangular rug measures 2.5 feet by 4 1/4 feet. We can represent its area by writing 2 plus half times 2 plus 1/4. Sketch the rectangle and what is the total area of the rug. So if we were to just sketch it first, we would draw a rectangle. And then we'll have this piece here, and we'll have this piece here. And we'll just label. So the top part, this one's 4, and this is 1/4. This would be 2, and this is half. In each little small piece, we would just find the area of each part. So the first one, we would have 2 times 4, which would give us 8. Here we'd have 2 times 1/4, which would equal half. And then we would have 4 times 1/2, which would give us 2. And then here we would have 1/2 times 1/4, which would give us 1/8. And if we were to add up all the areas of each piece, we would have 8 plus 2 plus 1/2 plus 1/8. So this would be 10 plus, and I can rewrite this. This area would be 4/8 plus 1/8. That would give us 5/8. So we would have an area of 10 and 5/8. That would be one way of solving the area of the rectangle. If we were to use FOIL, we would multiply the first term by the first term here, and that would give us 8. 2 times 1/4 would be 1/2. Half times 4 would give us 2. And half times 1/4 would give us 1/8. And those are the same numbers I have over here on the right hand side. Just solving it a little bit different way, just separating the rug into pieces, then I can find the area of each small piece and add them together. Let's take a look at our next example. A rectangle is x plus 3 units long and x plus 2 units wide. What is the area of the rectangle? So again, we could draw a diagram if that helps. So we'll draw this diagram, and we'll cut this piece right here, cut a piece right down here, and we'll label them. So this top part, we would have x plus 3, and over here we would have x plus 2. So x times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, x times 2 is 2x, and 2 times 3 would give us 6. And so if we were to put them all together, we would have an area of x squared plus 2x plus 3x is 5x plus 6. So again, that's one way of solving that one. Another way of solving that one would be taking your x plus 3 times your x plus 2. And we would use what they call the FOIL method. So F-O-I-L. The F stands for the first term in each binomial. So x times x is x squared. Then we would have the outer, so that means the first and the last one, so x times 2, that's 2x. The inner, that's the middle two, so 3 times x, which is 3x. And the L, the last term in each term binomial, 3 times 2, which is 6. These two become your 5x, and then you have your plus 6 and your x squared. And this would be square units. So here I showed you two different ways of solving the area of binomials. Next one, what is the area of the rectangle here? Again, I could just divide this way and then make this one x. This is 4, this is x, and this is 2. And you can do x times x, which is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times 4 is 8. And if I were to combine my answers, I would get x squared, 4x plus 2x is 6x. And then I have the plus 8 in the end. Next one. Here they want us to expand. So again, using the FOIL method. So here we go, x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 3 times x is plus 3x. 3 times 2 is plus 6. Combine our middle two terms, so that would be x squared plus 5x plus 6. Next one, we got x times x, which is x squared. X times a negative 4, so make sure you use the negative 4 here. That will give us a minus 4x. A negative 3 times x is a minus 3x. And a minus 3 times a minus 4 is a positive 12. These middle two terms combine. Negative 4x minus 3x is a minus 7x plus 12. So this would be our answer. Next one, x times x is x squared. X times a positive 3 is a positive 3x. 1 times x is a positive 1x. 1 times 3 is a positive 3. The middle two terms combine, so I have x squared plus 4x plus 3. And our last one here, we got x times x, which is x squared. X times 7 is a positive 7x. 4 times x is a positive 4x. 4 times 7 is a positive 28. Combine the middle two, and I get an answer of x squared plus 11x plus 28. Next problems. On the one on the left-hand side here, we're squaring them, which just means I'm using the same binomial, multiplying the same binomial by itself. So there you can either draw your picture or you can use the FOIL method. So if we use the FOIL method, this would be x plus 3 times x plus 3. Then distributes, so I have x times x, which is x squared. X times 3 is plus 3x. 3 times x is a plus 3x. And 3 times 3 is a positive 9, which will give us an answer of x squared plus 6x plus 9. And we would call this one a perfect square trinomial because I have a square for a side and I'm just squaring that binomial. So we would have a perfect square trinomial. Next one, expand this one. For this one, I'm going to show you another way of solving this one. We would just square the first term, so that would be x squared, plus if I take this x times this 10, I'm going to have two groups of x times 10. So two groups of x times 10 would give me 20x. And then if I square the 10, that would give me 100. And that would give me my answer of x squared plus 20x plus 100. Now to show you how that works out, if I take the x plus 10 times the x plus 10 and do the FOIL, x times x is x squared, x times 10 is your 10x, and then you have 10 times x, which is your 10x, and 10 times 10 is your plus 10, or plus 100. So here's your 20x plus 100, and then your x squared. So it's the same way, but here you can see I use the simplified form on the left-hand side. Next one, x times x is x squared. X times a negative 3 is a minus 3x, so don't forget about that negative. 8 times x is a positive 8x. And a positive 8 times a negative 3 is a negative 24. And that would give us an answer of x squared. Negative 3 plus 8x is a positive 5x minus 24. And our last one here, we got x times x, which is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. Negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. Negative 5 times 2 is a negative 10. Right, my answer, I would have x squared. 2x minus 5x is a minus 3x minus 10. And on the last slide, I have x times x is x squared. X times a negative 2x is a negative 2x. 2 times x is a positive 2x. 2 times a negative 2 is a negative 4. My answer would be x squared. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0, so I don't need to put anything down, minus 4. And we would call this one a difference of two squares because I have a perfect square here and a perfect square here, and I have a difference of subtraction sign in the middle. Anytime you have a binomial where the terms are the same but the signs are different, you just square the first term and square the second term and put a minus sign in between. So for this one, we have actual numbers in here. So 20 times 20 is 400. 20 times a negative 2 is a negative 40. 2 times 20 is a positive 40. And 2 times a negative 2 is a minus 4. So these middle two terms cancel out, that's 0. So I'm left with 400 minus 4, which would give us 396. That's our lesson today on areas of rectangles with very low dimensions and products of binomials.